Welcome back. Welcome back. Big night in politics last night. Well, I mean, not really a big night, was it? Not really a big night. It was a night. uh, there was a special election for 170,000 people to temporarily replace George Santos for a seat that will be back up for re-election in 9 months. So I guess theoretically, if you got somebody pregnant last week, they could have a baby under the reign of Tom Suozzi without him risking his seat to reelection. But there are some details to go through, and we will do that. We also have the continued fallout of the Biden memory stuff, Biden versus the media. It's going to be a good time. We'll be able to chat it up here. We have our latest episode of Politics out now. It wound up being a longer conversation with our old friend Evan Scrimshaw, where we talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of the Biden stuff. I think we're both usually Scrim is a little bit more optimistic toward Democratic chances than I am. I tend to be a little bit softer on them, but he is I think we're like aligned. It was like the first time that I've talked to Scrimshaw on the show where I felt like we were just kind of the same mind. There wasn't a lot that we disagreed on. It was a really good conversation. I hope people go and enjoy it. Did not have a stream on Monday because during Super Bowl Sunday, and I did not have a drink, so this was not the Super Bowl flu of me nursing a hangover. I did not drink during the Super Bowl, but I had a stomach thing, which I still don't know whether or not it was food poisoning or just a bug that came back with me from one of my trips. But boy, my guts have been not great. I'm gonna stop it there, details wise, just to because we are a morning program after all. It is 9 o'clock here on Central Time in Austin, Texas. But yeah, no, my guts are just not. They're not functioning. They're not functioning the way they should be. So thank you guys for the patience. I believe it was something before the Super Bowl because I was already in a bad spot before the game started, and then everybody starts showing up. So it's like, okay, it is what it is. I had a fever by halftime, and I was thinking about just kind of piecing out. I was kind of looking forward to maybe, you know, I got a group of friends that are all friends with each other. It's not like I'm the hub of anything. Obviously, we were hosting, my wife and I, but luckily I've got enough rooms in our house that I could just kind of slink away like a dog. And, the Super Bowl's there, so nobody would miss me. But I gamed it out. I was there. Very excited. Very excited Super Bowl finish. Mostly from the two people that don't give a shit about sports. Our friend Darren Kitchen and his girlfriend Eva, Swifties through and through. I mean, she's a Swiftie, and he kind of became a Swiftie by biblical relations, and they were screaming and yelling at the finish of that game. That was awesome. It was fun. It was really, really good. I think there's a reason why it was the number one television rated show ever. Uh it's just a good time. It's just a good time. Especially when people who don't know about sports, who don't care about sports, are given a reason to care about it. Because if sports at the end of the day, whether or not you understand the mechanics of it, it's a random number generator, right? That's one of the best ex KCD comics. Is like all sports journalism. Look at this random number generator. What if we assign narratives to it? Nailed it, right? Knocked it out of the park. And so they just knew if red team won, Taylor Swift wins. If red team loses, Taylor Swift loses. And they were into it. I hope childless wine aunts get into football and abandon Star Wars so they can get back to being good. I did not make the playlist for the party all of Vultures over and over and over again. I did not play Carnival 50 times for everybody coming in. Go, 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 go. My Vultures review. I can give you my Vultures review. It's the first time as an avid Kanye fan that it sounded like he's had fun. I mean, Jesus. I don't think that there's a lot of fun on Yeezus. I don't think that there's a lot of fun on Pablo. There's certainly not a lot of fun on Ye. And Donda is a, it's a divorce album, Donda. But there are moments on Vultures where he does seem like he is having a good time. Beautiful big-titted buck nigga women don't just fall out of the sky, Tell me how you know. Been searching high and low. And I just want you to remember one thing. Beautiful big-titted buck naked women just don't fall out of the sky, He remains the artist of my generation in very specific ways. Like I grew up loving Kevin Smith movies. Kevin Smith movies shaped my formative years. And now, as a soon-to-be 41-year-old man, I look back and one of my favorite music artists of all time samples of Kevin Smith, samples Dogma. Come on, man. Come on. Look, I understand Kanye West is not somebody that a lot of people find to be appropriate to discuss in mixed company, but what choice do I have? What choice do I have? What choice do I have? But no, I really liked it. I thought it was. I think that it doesn't quite have the grandiosity of Donda. There were a few tracks on Donda where you're just like, oh my God, you're just kind of taken aback by the grandiosity of it. But there's some bangers on there, some earworms. And, he remains a very, very open artist. And I think that's kind of in a world where everything is a marketing facade. It's very, very rare to be able to listen or watch or view an artist's art and have a general sense that it is honest. It's part of the reason why Taylor Swift is as popular as she is. Because you listen to the songs and you're like, oh, I know the thing she's talking about. She's very public about her dating, and she's very public about who she's talking about. And the trappings of wealth and success and talent have been eroded in the last several decades. More and more people can do it. Our expectations, our tastes have changed to the point where now we crave authenticity. It's always one of those things that's funny to me with a younger music crowd, that they'll talk about like industry plants. Oh, Billie Eilish, she's an industry plant. As if like the concept of the industry is not built upon trying to find talent and make them bigger. That's the point. That's what they do. That's their job. In an internet, social media dominated world, what we fetishize, what we want, is something that is rare. The person who just turns on a camera in their bedroom, and we understand their talent to be undeniable, and as a collective, we lift them up. Now, that is a beautiful story. It's not really a story that reflects our world. And I think it's harmful if you are a creative to think of the idea of the prodigy myth, that's what success is. Success is barely trying and the world hearing the first draft of your idea, recognizing it for true brilliance, and then lifting you up. That's intensely damaging because it presumes that the actual craft of art, working, refining, releasing, failing, understanding your connection to the world around you, so art and artists and audience can kind of work as one, that's not how things work. And so, obviously Kanye and Taylor Swift are tied together. I think they will be forever tied together for reasons both good and bad. I am obviously more on one side than the other, for all of the mean things that Kanye said about Taylor Swift, that he feels like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous. God damn. It's nothing any more vile than he said about his own wife on the same album. I think me and Ray J would be friends if we ain't loved the same bitch. Yeah, he might have hit it first. The only problem is I'm rich. And by the way, that's right before the line of, it's like 21 Grammys, Superstar Family, We the New Jacksons, we all about that action. Like the most bigging up of the Kardashians that he possibly could. He begins with the idea, that his wife got famous for a sex tape. All that being said, I like Vultures. And I'm glad they cut the Backstreet Boys song. I think that was probably for the best. They cut the Backstreet Boys song. Taylor approved that line and lied about not approving it. Well, there's a lot of back and forth with that. There was a clip of Taylor hearing the me and Taylor might still have sex. I think she didn't. She says she didn't hear I made that bitch famous. And also, there's got to be some sort of thing there. Okay, I can stop talking about Kanye West and start talking about politics. One last thing about Kanye West. TMZ stopped him and asked him about Israel-Palestine. And he said, I don't know enough. Just so you know how fraught the Israel-Palestine conversation is, Kanye begged off. Okay? Kanye begged off. Kanye said, I don't know enough about it. Kanye. For everybody rushing into the breach with their hot takes, Kanye. Just think about that the next time you hit return. All right. The Santos special. Our boy Merrill Barr went to Long Island and said Tom Suozzi was going to win. Tom Suozzi indeed did win. Here are the takes that are coming out of it. The Democrats have a playbook to talk about the border. Migrant influx, migrant crime is very much been at the top of mind for people on Long Island and in Queens. This because of the influx of migrants and asylum seekers into New York City. There was an incident in Times Square that got a lot of press locally. Tom Suozzi decided that he was not going to run away from it. He was going to run into it. He talked about the border a lot. This was thought to be a boon to Republicans, and yet Suozzi won by, I think, 9 points. That's a big swing from Santos winning, I think, by 9 points right before. I don't know how much that's real. I think at the end of the day, this is a special election where not a lot of people participated and there was a snowstorm. The Nassau GOP was not particularly well organized, and nor were they well organized when they didn't vet Santos twice. And Suozzi was an incumbent. He was a former incumbent that tried to run for governor, failed, came back, got a seat back. Normally the party that gets ejected from office suffers a penalty. They suffered the penalty and then some. Democrats had an advantage in terms of early voting, and then there was a snowstorm yesterday. So I don't know if I would put a ton into the idea that the Democrats have a new playbook on the border. Do I think that it's probably smart that they don't hide from it? Sure. I don't know if muddying the water by saying that the Republicans wouldn't do anything on the border is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's like, look, if you're losing on an issue, muddy the water. But I do think that if Democrats make the border a top 3 issue for them and not abortion. If I were listing the top 3 issues for Democrats, it would be abortion, and then abortion. That would be it. Women's health, however you want to call it. But, as just a talking point to do it, I don't think it's bad. Also, for those of you who did not hear either on Great Night or on the PX3 Extra, I am going to the border next week. I will be down at the Texas-Mexico border. I am on a junket. I am being sent there by the Americans for Prosperity Foundation, not Americans for Prosperity that backed Nikki Haley. The Americans for Prosperity Foundation, that is a nonprofit wing of, or the charity wing of that super PAC. But it is the Coke money. Got that Coke money. They are sending a bunch of people down, including myself, Andrew Heaton, and Brian Brushwood, many others. Some I know, some I don't. And we are going to see the border. We're going to talk to some people. And then I'm going to come back. Am I planning to go as far as Andrew Callahan and get arrested by ICE? No. I got shit to do. I got shit to do. And that'd be hack now, right? Come on, he already did it. Brushwood is going. And it's actually really interesting because his wife, Bonnie, is from the town that we're going to. She's from a border town. And we're going to get the view of somebody that lived in that town, see how it changed over the intervening several decades. I'm keeping an open mind about it. I want to be transparent with you guys. If I can, I'll live stream while I'm down there. I do want to be upfront and honest about how, why, and who is sending me there, because I don't believe that I am programmable by an organization. But I can give you guys my theory, and this is somewhat informed. Americans for Prosperity, and this is a fact, you can look back at their history, are for greater legal immigration. That's a thing that they are for. They are for more easier, streamlined immigration, legal immigration. The reason why they are bringing people to the border, in my opinion, this is my guess, is that they understand that until what is happening right now is resolved on some level, which based on my cursory understanding, my priors going in, are that we don't really have an immigration crisis. I mean, let me put that aside. We do have an immigration crisis. That's another problem. Right now, we have an asylum abuse problem. People that are claiming asylum that don't really have a claim for asylum, or at least have a claim in the way that we've traditionally understood having a claim for asylum. And that is essentially a green light for people to, if you have asylum, have a pathway to citizenship within 5 years. The word has gotten out, and that harms our legal immigration system. It harms our asylum system, and there needs to be some level of reform there. That's my priors. So we'll see if they change when I go down there. But my guess is that AFP Foundation is drawing attention to this because they understand that they cannot continue with their mission to reform immigration until this particular chapter is behind us. But again, those are my priors sitting here eating breakfast tacos in Austin. I don't know shit about the border. I'm gonna head on down there. We're gonna get some eyes on it, and that'll be the case. So, no stream from here, no stream from the studio on Monday or Wednesday. I will be flying both of those days, but everything else should be on time, including We're Not Wrong, which Jen Briney declined this trip. So we're going to have a very interesting episode of We're Not Wrong next Wednesday, as myself and Andrew Heaton will be fresh from the border, literally fresh from flying from the border. And Jen will have a clear mind on the issue. I respect your point of view on that, by the way. Yep. These junkets are not something that everybody agrees with. They're not. And I've got my own point of view on it, but I can respect any journalist who says, if I want to understand that, I can spend my own money to do it. That's up to them. It's up to them. I'll let her talk about why she declined, but I will say in general, these kinds of junkets are not universally agreed upon. They are not something that everybody in journalism likes. In fact, if I were at an outlet, I don't think I'd be allowed to go on it. If I were offered it, if I worked, and this is back in the day, I don't know what the rules are now, but if I worked for the Austin American Statesman and AFP offered to send me, I think it would be a big conversation on, well, wait a minute, how much are they paying? They're not paying you all that. They're not spending all that much. It's a plane ticket down there, 2 nights in a hotel, a rental car. Why don't we just spend the $700 and you just go do that yourself for this without the taint of an outside organization? So maybe too personal inside, but is she okay with you going? Well, I think we're going to talk about that on the show today. We'll talk about that on the show today. I hope to talk about it on the show today. I like these kinds of things. I like these kinds of talk. I'm seeing here on my Twitter account, Hakeem Jeffries. Gentle note to House Republicans, you work for the American people, not Vladimir Putin. Pass the damn bipartisan national security bill. They will not. They will not. It does not appear that Speaker Johnson is going to be in any rush to put the bill that was passed in the Senate. That was the national security bill without the border stuff. It might get sent back to the Senate with HR 2 stapled to it, at which point the Senate will not pass it because that's where we're at right now. Oh, we haven't gotten a chance to talk about the Vladimir Putin interview. How many folks watched the Vladimir Putin interview? Hands up. Nobody? Huh? Okay, Sang, we have one. A bunch of people watch clips. So I didn't watch it. I listened to it. I listened to it on my walk. By the way, and this is something that I don't know how long this has been the case with the Twitter app, the now X app, but unlike YouTube, which you can only do if you have Pro, the X app will allow you to put your phone into rest and you can still hear audio. So you don't have to leave the video playing in your pocket to hear the audio if you're out on a walk for per se. And so that's how I listened to the Tucker Carlson Vladimir Putin interview. My review. I will be like Vladimir Putin, and let's start with with historical context before I get into anything else. And of course, because I look at this like a journalist, uh, the bar for questions that you ask a hostile foreign leader while you are on their home turf is not exactly high. You want to get explorative questions from them. And in that standard, I think it is really weak sauce to call Tucker Carlson's interview a softball. I think considering the fact that he asked about detained journalists is, that's about as aggressive as you're going to get for an interview like that. If you expect them to be, a hectoring CNN, MSNBC, fact check type of interview, I just don't think A, that's going to happen, and B, I don't know if it would have been better than to let Vladimir Putin ramble about all the stuff that he wanted. And with that being said, my observations. It was very, very interesting that Vladimir Putin just did his first 30-minute monologue about why he invaded Ukraine by doing a hardcore history episode about the formation of Russia. Dude went all the way back. Let me dovetail this with something else. And because it comes to the question of that history lesson. When I was in Serbia and Croatia a few months ago, the former Yugoslavia, a piece of land that has been divided and subdivided based on ethnic lines, for which there has been wars, massacres, atrocities, the kinds of violence that has attracted international attention, and indeed, in terms of Belgrade, international intervention, NATO bombing Belgrade. A city for which still has its crumbling buildings on display. You'll walk through Belgrade. I was proofing the most recent season of World's Greatest Con while looking at these crumbled buildings, some of which were bombed by NATO. And for whatever you think about that decision, let's just focus on the idea that the violence in that region that attracted international attention was because of ethnic lines. Ethnicity in that part of the world is real. It is real on a level that is foreign to me, and probably to you, as our American melting pot sensibilities are. we tend to look at ethnicity in a different way. Yes, it's a source of pride. Yes, it's a source of who we like to hang out with and the food we like to eat. It is not something that usually we kill each other over, or at least is a broad-based reason why an entire area would kill somebody else. I believe that is to our great, great benefit. I think it is one of the most amazing things about American culture, and it is something that the more I travel, the more I tend to appreciate what we have created on this little weird place we call the good old US of A. But with that being said, you do have to understand that the rest of the world is different. America does not see ethnicity in the way that Serbia or Russia does, nor do we see religion in the same way that, let's say, they see it in the Middle East. But when you talk about ethnic lines, and that's what Vladimir Putin's entire 30-minute hardcore history episode was all about, the ethnic lines of Ukraine, that Ukraine, the concept of Ukrainian nationality is something that is fake in his mind, something that was ginned up as anti-Russian propaganda, propped up first by Poland and now the West. So if we understand that killing for ethnicity is not an exception, but the rule in those regions, then I think we get a little bit closer to understanding where the popular support or understanding for this conflict is, not only throughout Russia, but also, throughout the region. I thought that Tucker's line of questioning was very, very interesting and important, leading up to one thing. Vladimir Putin lays out, okay, well, these are regions that the annexed regions are places that have always ethnically spoken Russian. They have been forced to adopt a Ukrainian nationality. And we probably wouldn't have, put the same kind of efforts into Ukraine if we would have known this was going to happen, blah, 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 blah. According to Vladimir Putin, they never wanted to sack Kyiv. They wanted to force Kyiv to commit to never being a part of NATO. That's why they didn't take Kyiv. They could have taken Kyiv. We'll see whether or not, look, he has to answer to any of those stories to his Greek Orthodox God. But I'll give credit to Tucker in that he said, well, if you look at the lines now where the war has stalemated, it sounds like territory-wise, you have what you were looking for. You have Crimea and you have these areas that you believe are ethnically Russian, more so extraordinarily ethnically Russian because he believes that Ukraine is ethnically Russian. And Putin says, yes, but that's before denazification. And so we get to what I think is, and I took away from that interview, the bullshit. Because when you're talking about, even in a thing that is foreign to our Western ears, these ethnic lines and that ethnic people should be with other ethnic people, again, foreign to us, foreign to me. I don't understand that. It goes against the way I think, but I cannot deny, having been to Serbia and Croatia, that these wars have been fucking fought over this, and people have no problem laying down their lives and their families' lives to fight for these causes. It ain't my thing, but I understand that it is theirs. So even if we go along those lines, the concept of denazification is this ends when I say it ends for Putin. Because while he is not wrong that there have been Nazi heroes in Ukraine, any society that has lionized fighting Moscow, you know, you go back far enough, who was fighting Moscow? And yes, there are neo-Nazi elements within Ukraine, some of which have been drafted into their battle against Russia. Now, do I know for a fact that there is less or more concepts of white supremacy within Ukraine than there is Russia? I don't know. Russia does not seem to me to be a place that would be totally devoid of white supremacy. So I don't find the concept of denazification particularly compelling from the lips of President Putin. I tend to find that to be well, basically the war ends when I say that the Nazi element of Ukraine has been purged. HH says, is anyone else in this chat, or is it just me and Ben Makes TV? So we are streaming in 3 different places, on X, on YouTube, and on Twitch. So I see everyone that's coming in, but you can be a part of whatever, you can reach me wherever you want. But yeah, I thought that was to me the biggest element of, look, Vladimir Putin feels like he has been offered, that he has good faith offered the West the ability to live in peace. And there were elements of what he said that I do believe, I do buy his version of some of what he said. I don't particularly think that I don't have any reason to take Vladimir Putin at face value on everything that he said, but I do think that it's not a secret that there's been a fraught relationship between the West and Russia, and that we have had various different attempts to try and either give the carrot or the stick to Russia. And I do think that there's good faith criticism that we can offer toward NATO on exactly what the purpose of NATO is, and where along the lines of you stop hitting me, no, you stop hitting me, no, you stop hitting me, no, you stop hitting me, we are in the lines between NATO expansion and Russian defense, right? But that was my thoughts. My thoughts on the Vladimir Putin interview for Tucker Carlson. I think it was unfair to call it a softball interview. I genuinely don't know what the expectations are for stuff like that. Again, if you want this to be MSNBC interviewing Trump, number one, good luck. Good luck. Good luck getting the interview. Good luck leaving Moscow. It takes balls to go out there. Anybody's like, oh, you went to Moscow and you gave and you didn't challenge Putin. It's like, okay, dude. Well, you go do it. I would rather the interview be done. I would rather it be done. I would rather more information. I am hard-coded religious in that I would like more information. I am not one that believes that a level of misinformation is a reason to stop the flow of information. It was wild that after leaving Russia, Carlson said that Moscow is nicer than any American city. Yeah, I didn't see the full context of that. I saw that it went viral. Um, I don't know the context, so I don't want to say unless somebody has a clip. But it seems like Tucker would be smart enough to understand also that he was shown, good parts. It's like, people have gone to North Korea, to Pyongyang, and said, "Oh my God, what a beautiful, gorgeous city." Yeah, I'll tell you what, if it's really nice, why not? Let's get some fentanyl in there. This is an open market. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, look, Moscow is a fucking huge city. It's a gigantic city. It is a regional capital for an entire portion of the world. I would expect that it's really nice. Is it bad timing for the right wing to want to kill funding to Ukraine, but also highlight it with a Carlson interview at the same time? I think you're looking at a lot of things that are not particularly connected that we are weaving together, but I think you could probably say it is indicative of the fact that America does not understand its role in Ukraine. We understand Russia bad. We've understood Russia bad for a while, right? We get that. We get Russia bad. Why us Ukraine now? We don't really understand that. I don't think that the average person understands it. And so if Russia bad is feeling a little shabby, if that's not as powerful, everybody can agree Russia bad, but yeah, but how bad? There's a report that said that 90% of their military had been damaged by the war thus far, moving into its third year. So what, we want 95, 96? How fucked up do we want this military to be? Not connected? I disagree. The timing is purposeful. Who's organizing it? Brawley. I'm curious. Brawley Doris is not connected. I disagree. The timing is purposeful. I'm curious. I'm curious to your perspective on who is organizing such a thing. Because I don't know if you've seen the Republican Congress are many things. You can call them many things. Organized is not one of them. Although maybe I am being deceived. Maybe they are very organized. Do I have a good recipe for soup? Mr. Ben Ratner. No, I don't. I am going to try to make my wife vegan chicken parmesan tonight. I've never done that. I'm going to try to make myself regular chicken parmesan and my wife vegan chicken parmesan. So it might be a disaster, but I'm going to make a little spaghetti, get some cutlets, fry them up, toss a little sauce. It's gonna be a good time. Good Valentine's Day. Hope everybody has a good Valentine's Day. Make sure that you are nice to your Valentine. How worried is Ash about cross contamination? I'm a pro. I know what I'm doing. I think we're gonna use. I don't know which fake chicken, but we're gonna figure it out. No, we're not doing eggplant parmesan. We're gonna do fake meat, which is probably seitan or some kind of protein. We have friends that are, if I get gluten, I need to go to the hospital. Levels of sick and their cross contamination concerns are next level. I mean, that's how the Brushwoods are. The Brushwoods have really serious peanut and egg allergies, so they are no joke. But Ashley does not have any physical reactions, like allergic reactions to anything. She just is a vegan for personal reasons. Mm. I want more coffee. I think I've been fucking riding the edge with these guts, man. It's been a pain. My stomach's been gurgling. I'm doing my best not to get into specifics because it's just gross. It's just gross. Family member farms peanuts. Their daughter is highly allergic. Dad has to shower at the farm shop and not bring his farm clothes home. Damn, that's wild. Uh, we have a Newsweek report This coming across the Twitter line. Biden met ex-Chinese energy bosses that did business with Hunter. Former business associate with Hunter Biden claimed that his father, Joe Biden, was president at a meeting with the chairman of the Chinese energy firm Hunter Biden did business with. Rob Walker testified during a closed-door hearing at the House Oversight and Judiciary Committee earlier this month. Newsweek reached out to Biden via email. On December 13th, the House of... okay, so that's really the only news. While he did not confirm the date, Walker said that according to a transcript of the interview, Joe Biden met CEFC chairman Yi Jianming along with his son Hunter and other business partners at the Four Seasons in D.C. in 2017 when the elder Biden was vice president. Wait a minute. He would not be vice president in 2017. Well, that's odd. He was vice president to 2015, maybe even a little bit of 2016. That seems weird. Is there a comment section here? No, just chum ads. Oh, I guess, no, he would be in 2016, yeah. So he would be in 2017. All right. So it would have to be in January, right? There's a Joe versus Drumpf debate. I think Joe is going to be awful. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a debate. But yeah, I don't know. Hey, boy, geez. The Biden stuff is I don't know. Even when we were live streaming the debates during the Democratic primary back in 2019, I was just, I don't know. I've been long kind of concerned about just like the way he looks down, the way he visibly seems frustrated with himself because his brain is moving faster than his body will allow him to express things. I don't think his brain is moving really quickly. Well, I mean, again, it's like the heartbreaking element of all of our human declines is that our instincts are our punishment. Because we don't realize how much we do just by instinct, just because we know what to do. And this happens whenever you have an injury. It happens whenever you have a disability. That your instincts are now your reminder that you can't do things, that things you used to be able to do, now you can't. And that's heartbreaking. that is really heartbreaking. It's hard to deal with. And I think that just as much as any kind of like, his brain is turning into pudding, is part of the reason why it's so sad. The biggest thing that we came to the conclusion with Scrimshaw on the PX3 show is that the Biden campaign doesn't seem to be able to wrap their head around what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. Because a great campaign recognizes its strengths and mitigates its weaknesses. To be totally honest, it's part of the reason why the Trump campaign has been as good as it has been, is because they have recognized that their strength is their grassroots support. Their weakness is Donald Trump being as, just totally going off on everything. You want that in measured doses. And like, they'll take the odd, oh, Donald Trump said that Russia should attack NATO countries, because they believe that they are comfortable on the point of like, hey, NATO countries paid more when Trump was there. And, there's a report today that said that NATO countries are looking to settle up their dues in the expectation that Donald Trump is coming back. I didn't read Matt Iglesias' full piece, but I did. This is HH. I agree with his baseline point that America elected Joe Biden the center-left centrist. And if he can reemerge as that's very good for him. I also think Matt Iglesias is kind of consistently fighting with an element of Democratic Twitter that, I don't know how real it is. So here's the thing about the Trump thing, right? He was telling a story from the past. He wasn't talking about the future. If we're just going to look at the clip, he was saying, and he said this a million times, this is not controversial. He said it when it happened. He ran on it in 2016. He said, NATO isn't paying us enough money. We pay too much money into NATO. Like, and so this was him saying, hey, you have to pay up. And they said, but what if we get attacked? And he said, if you don't pay up, we're not going to come for you. And they paid up. But it was a story from the past. I haven't heard anyone pointing out what you did in that Biden conference head where he was saying the funeral was at the First Lady. Oh, yeah, where he forgot the church that the rosary beads from his son's funeral came from. It was a little sweaty to, I don't know, people who wanted to pretend like Biden's one-liner on Peter Doocy was, some great comedic shakes. KSASL, what do you think the odds are that Biden steps down and another candidate replaces him? 0. 0.0%. He will not step down. He might have a health scare, but he will not step down. He will not say that he is weak. If I was super old and both my sons had the same wife, I would get confused too. Jeez Louise. Jeez. I mean, you know, it's easy to lose track of your grandkids when, you got one son popping them out like that. Yeah, chaos. I think things would have to get far darker than they are now. I look, the Democrats have strapped themselves into this roller coaster. That's just that. Click, 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 click. Republicans too. Click, 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 click. They can't control it. For Democrats, it's why are you going to give up the power of the incumbency? And for Republicans, it's nobody turns them out like Trump. Everything else, you just got to eat it. It's a high bill to pay, but you're just going to swallow it and pay it, and you're going to throw it all at the wall and see how it sticks. Did I write Jon Stewart's monologue on Monday? He was using all of my lines. I watched it. It was good. I like Jon Stewart. I thought, it takes balls for him because he knows what he means to Democratic politics. He knows what he means. It took balls for him to use that first monologue to attack Biden in any way. And so I thought some of the throat clearing with like, hey, Trump's depositions, blah, 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 like that was a little tedious, but I get it. I get why he had to do it because, he knew he was pre-arguing with people during the monologue because, and it happened, people were like, oh, you're too mean to Biden. I mean, would I like to live in a world where he could just rip Biden and then rip Trump another time and he didn't have to equal time the jokes? Because he doesn't equal time the jokes when it's just ripping on Trump. When Trump does something stupid, and he won't. I don't think he should. He shouldn't. But I thought it was funny. I thought, and I think the thing that he probably closely hewed to stuff that I've said in the past is the idea that it is not our job to do volunteer press comms for any elected official or somebody seeking office. It's not our job. Our job is to judge them, and I would advise you to judge them harshly. It is our job to look at them as pieces of meat, like at a butcher shop. Understand whether or not you want to take that one home. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And, I don't know if I would say I'm certainly not immune of Jon Stewart influence. So, if Jon Stewart and I agree, then I'll take it as a good sign. Was Jon Stewart roommates with Anthony Weiner? Is that true? Or is that just some shit you see on fucking dodgy message boards where it shows you that every CEO is a Jew? All right, here we go. Famous roommates. We have Kirsten Gillibrand and Connie Britton. Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin. These women, I don't know who these people are. I don't know who that is. Hakeem Jeffries and Victor Williams. Former Representative Anthony Weiner and former Daily Show host Jon Stewart were never college roommates, but they lived together in a summer house in Dewey Beach, Delaware in 1987. I mean, that's not really roommates. They went in to live at a flop house when they were in college. Like that's not, I wouldn't even say roommates on that. Spitzer and Jim Cramer, that's for real. Yeah, that was Harvard Law School roommate. Yeah. Yeah, Ted Cruz was roommates with the what's it called, dude? The Last of Us dude. Craig Mazin. Oh yeah, God. There was a almost unlistenable episode of the Auntie Donna podcast. Shout out to Auntie Donna. Love Auntie Donna. But an almost unlistenable episode of their podcast where they were obviously all transfixed by Craig Mazin's podcast prowess. And they were all doing an impression of Craig Mazin, interviewing each other. They were doing a podcast of 3 Craig Mazins. And so now I will have in my head Craig Mazin, Craig Mazin, Craig Mazin. I will never be able to read the name Craig Mazin without Craig Mazin. And I don't even know. I never listened to the podcast for the Chernobyl show. I never listened to any other podcast that the man did. I only know of the one episode of the Auntie Donna podcast where they were doing an impression. And while I tell you that it was unlistenable, I will also say I will forever say Craig Mazin in my head. Thoughts on the return of Hollywood Rock? I think it's good. I think it's good that they got back to the main event that people wanted. Give the people what they want. And it's probably more utilitarian to turn Rock. If you can get a heel Rock, that's great because that's the harder thing to do. It's going to be easier for people to cheer him. Tommy Lee Jones and Al Gore were roommates. True. WWE had to pivot. Yeah, I wonder, is there a way for me to see how many people are in each thing? Has it been long enough since the NWO to reboot that kind of evil empire where so many favorites have heel turns? Well, I don't know. We're not going to get into a whole wrestling thing. You did have a reboot of it. It was called Bullet Club, and it reshaped wrestling. It's the reason why we have 2 wrestling promotions now. X has 4 viewers. Good. Well, 77 on Twitch. All right, so we have like the rest is coming on YouTube. Joe Biden and Oliver Cromwell were roommates. Jesus. Do you feel that the invasion storyline of WWE was the most wasted opportunity? Yes, in that there was a lot of denied climaxes in that era that was very, very hot. But what are you going to do? Well, now we're just going to look, if we're just going to ask wrestling questions, then we're going to we're going to drive these numbers down, baby. We're going to drive these numbers down. Although I'll tell you what, we do have to wrap it up here because I got to get ready for We're Not Wrong. On this edition of the show, we will talk about, what are we talking about? Valentine's Day edition. Oh, should RFK Jr. be the Libertarian Party's nominee? I'm going to needle some libertarians on the show today. It's going to be great. It's very rare that I know I'm going to get hate email, but I'm going to get some hate email on this one. No, God, no electoral efficacy. No, stop it. We don't want to be relevant. We don't like power. We're libertarians. We just leave us in the basement. We just want to argue with each other. Stop trying to. We don't actually care about the things that we say we care about. Stop it. No, don't put a famous person on our ticket. Anyway, I'm going to get hate email. I'm excited. I'm excited to get some hate email. It's the party of principles, right? What principles? Oh, don't worry. We're going to fight about it endlessly. So are you a party of principles? I don't know. Let's fight about it. Small L, big L. How many L's? Well, I'll tell you what. I think it is a big L party. The big L for fucking losers. All the L's. Oh, wait. Hold on. We have a farewell gift. A farewell gift.
You want to say anything?
Would you like to say anything, DB? No. Julia. We brought Julia to the masses.
And they love Julia?
They love Julia.
Julia is an icon.
Iconic.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Julia.
Sicilian goose.
Every time she hits my feed, I just send her to you.
It's every video.
Yeah.
That lady. And we were like, initially we were wondering whether or not she is like going for it. Like, is she trying to get bit? And then we realized, no, she's just Italian. She can't help but talk with her hands.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
I mean,
So
all your
she's
family,
yelling-
all your family's like that in
Yeah.
Sicily.
Oh, I thought you were doing a goose thing.
What?
But my family.
Oh, well, that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
naturally.
Nobody hates libertarians more than libertarians. Yeah, we're going to talk about libertarians. And what else are we talking about on the We're Not Wrong show? Oh, whether or not the Super Bowl was the last monocultural moment in our lifetimes. Will we ever see a monocultural moment like we saw on Sunday? It's a little meta for us. And then in the Patreon, we are going to talk about replacing Biden. Yeah, the LP ran Bob fucking Barr. And he certainly didn't have the same kind of stroke that the Kennedy name does. You ran Bob Barr. Yeah. How's your morning been? How's your Valentine's Day so far?
Well, so far, I have myself a breakfast omelet.
Yeah.
And delivery coffee from husband while I was in bed.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Otherwise I got dressed up because it's Valentine's Day.
It is Valentine's.
So are you taking me on a date? What's happening?
No, we agreed. We're not going on a date. I'm going to make dinner for you.
That's the date.
Oh.
That's the date.
That's the date?
Dinner date.
It is.
But
we're not going anywhere.
No, why would we do that?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to fight off all these other fucking young
You also hate
lovers.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's so stupid. Because it robs me of my birthday
There
rights.
we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Stupid
That's
holiday.
The issue is that your birthday is the 13th.
Yes.
And it fucks up all of your birthday plans.
It does. And I hate it.
But also we lately have been trying to minimize like COVID and flu stuff and everything. So we didn't want to go do a big dinner this year anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've had so many close calls though, or we both have had so many close calls with COVID this year. Like I half think that we've just been getting enough of like little bits of it.
We've been microdosing COVID.
We've been microdosing COVID. Yeah. I think we might be in the
shit.
clear. Oh, bird yoga. Stretch it out, buddy. Please don't shit on my head.
I like to think that that's true. Although I guess I'm paying for something. I'm paying a debt. Like I have not gotten sick, despite the fact that I've been doing nothing but sitting in barely ventilated rooms with Republican primary voters. I've had a strong immune system. Not lately.
No.
Lately, holy crap-a-moly.
Crap is the key word.
I've been trying to keep it PG.
That's okay. I'm not going to say anything.
I've been trying to keep it PG. I've just said that my guts are a mess, and they've been a mess for 72 hours.
Let's just say wife is tired of your crap.
I don't think I think it's more of the farts.
Your associated smells with said crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But your guts are getting better, hopefully. You're less smelly.
I once dated
It's not like I walk into the bedroom when you were taking a nap and that immediately I was just hit with fart gas.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
That was bad.
Anyway,
that was Monday.
Sorry, this is too much.
I tried to keep it away from everybody.
Now the wife's here for real talk.
I once dated a foreigner who pointed out that Valentine's Day wasn't something that they did in her culture, so we agreed not to. Then she was disappointed day of when I didn't do anything. Learned my lesson. Never believe them when they say it doesn't matter. That's true.
Disagree.
That's true. No, because Valentine's Day is totally dependent on how it is a societal thing. If you, and we'll be gendered here because this is my perspective as a man.
Mm-hmm.
If as a man, your partner says that they hate Valentine's Day, but they are in an environment where everybody cares about Valentine's Day, you have to match that environmental level. Because nobody wants to be, regardless of what your opinions are on it, the only person who isn't getting something ever. So if you're in a situation where a bunch of people are all getting gifts or they're all going out to a place, like it's
I think that's different than one-on-one though. Like,
but that's the thing is we don't live one-on-one. We live in a world where everybody is comparing themselves to everybody else.
When have I gotten mad about Valentine's Day?
I don't think you've ever gotten mad. I do think that there have been times where I have gotten you things that you did not expect, and you would not have been mad if I did not get you anything. But it was good for me to get you something if you're in a situation where everybody else is getting a thing.
Mm.
Now, I will say that I have had to get better at understanding that no matter what women say in my life, flowers are always good. Because you have been somebody that has said you don't like flowers, but then I get you flowers and you like the fact that I got you flowers.
Earlier on.
Yeah.
Earlier on in our relationship, it annoyed me. Oh, sorry, bird. Mostly because like they just die. But part of that was realizing that I didn't know how to take care of them.
Oh.
And because of TikTok, I've learned how to appropriately care for flowers.
So it was like a shame thing. It was like, I don't know how to.
Well, it just felt like a waste of money because it would be there like, you know, anywhere between 1 to 3 days max, and then they would just die.
Yeah.
And then I realized that 1, you had to consistently trim the ends, and 2, you're not supposed to fill it up with as much water. It's just like this much. Which I'm actually due to do with the flowers that you got me downstairs for my birthday.
They were birthday flowers.
Birthday flowers.
And to make our house look nice for when people came over for the Super Bowl.
Yes, because heaven forbid if there's no bouquet at the Super Bowl, what a faux pas.
We wanted to stunt. We wanted to stunt on our friends.
Yeah.
Because we have a good house.
We do.
People like coming to our house.
Yeah.
So Darren and
we
Eva
had
can
too many
scream and
snacks.
yell about
I have
football.
never seen such non-sports people in my life go so hard yelling. And like I get, you know, sometimes low-key annoyed when you're watching football and you're just like randomly like, sorry, DB, randomly like clapping or there's a random yell, but it wasn't like this constant high shrill scream of either a score or a not score or Taylor showing up on the screen.
Yes. No, I try to keep it. I try to keep it.
Oh, sorry, doctor. I'll get him.
No. Oh, where's there he goes. There he goes.
That's what I get for getting your phone.
There goes the Deebs. All right. That's it. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're Not Wrong. We'll be out tomorrow. PX3 Extra out Thursday. PX3 on Friday is going to be an interview with, let me get this guy's name right. Dimitri Melhorn. Dimitri Melhorn is somebody who's been involved in Democratic super PACs. And so I want to talk to him about just the world of Democratic super PACs in general. It's a fascinating world to me. And we're going to ask him all the questions, and that'll be on Friday's episode of the program. First weird things in a month and no jury. There's an episode with me on it. And at some point it'll see the light of day. All right. That's it. Till next time. I will see y'all later.